Hey everybody, welcome to Upstairs to the Right Music channel. Welcome so much to you guys. Welcome to you and all who are watching this live now or are going to watch it in the rerun. A welcome to you. Listen, you know, it has been an interesting week. Uh, I kind of got that kind of, what do you call it, rolled over feeling. So I'm going to just pick one topic. Well, there'll be a few topics tonight that we're going to talk about, but they're all weave into each other, all to one point. Where to start? Where to start? That Stratocaster arrived this week, fortunately for me. Hey Ben, welcome. It came in the weirdest packaging, guys, that you could imagine. Okay? That's the first thing. I mean, really, it was. Hey, welcome. Thank you so much. All the way from Athens, Georgia again. Welcome. Thank you so much. Um, yeah, it was the worst packaging of a guitar I've ever seen. I mean, it was the bare minimum. I released the video just this afternoon. Hey, nice to see you. Welcome from the sunny shores, Ireland. How is the weather there these days? It really sucks here in Amsterdam. This is actually, today was the first sunny day that we've had in a while. They keep saying that it's going to be sunny, but it never really does pay out. Today it was actually sunny, so I hope you're having better weather than we're having here. Just the bare minimum packaging. I was thinking to myself, oh my gosh, weather is crap. Thanks for asking. Hey man, I'm sharing in your misery. You want to know crap weather? You come over here to Amsterdam. Well, Ireland. Okay, I'll have to give you that one. Oh man, but just the worst packaging, guys, that you could possibly imagine. I was horrified when it arrived. It was in a very thin box that was to the exact size of the guitar. So I think it was kind of a self-made box from a bigger box. They had cut it down. It did have an anchor inside for the headstock, but it had no other kind of anchors down at the bottom, and it was wrapped and like budget bargain basement bubble wrap. Hey, good morning. Thank you so much for taking the time to show up, Maddie Two Hats. Just the worst job ever. And when it came, I came in through my front door and it was sitting there on my doorstep in the inner hallway downstairs, and I thought to myself, oh my gosh, what is this? At first, because I've never seen such a small box for a guitar before. I said, what is this? I said, oh, I guess it's my guitar. Okay, and I kind of rattled a little bit, and I said, oh, that's interesting. And but it came finally. I did release a video on it today, my first ever Strat, which is starting to elicit a lot of interesting comments. This one guy said, where have your first Strat, what planet do you live on? And I said, hey man, the heart wants what the heart wants, and it was not a Stratocaster, trust me. Until now. I've got it here so that we can talk about it a little bit more in detail as a jump off point for our discussion this evening. But here it is, guys. Hey, Doc, in the house. Greetings. It is a beauty. It's really nice. It's got that 72 CBS headstock to it going on, and I dig that. There was a guy in Singapore who was a player in a band there that I hung out with when I was doing a little bit of gigging there. And greetings. And he had an actual 72 Stratocaster. And I really enjoyed the headstock. I enjoyed the way that it looked. with this being kind of patterned after it, that's kind of something that I'd like to go. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you guys haven't watched it, do please take the time to watch the video. I'll go a little bit more detail about my thoughts on this now that I've had this for a minute here. Um, but as a starting point to something that I really want to get into tonight. But we'll start with the pleasantries. Party on, Wayne. Party on, Garth. That's right. Oh my gosh. Wait a minute. Can we do it? No, no stairway. Eh. Um, yeah. A real pleasure to have this guitar. It it's like Joey Tribbiani from Friends packed it. It's like my guy. Hey, greetings. Thank you for showing up. Yeah, my agent in Japan, he's never packed a guitar in his life until he started working with me. And I sent him a very detailed video in Japanese with a Japanese guy who works at Tishigaki, where I go to when I'm in Tokyo to shop a bit, and about how to pack a guitar for travel properly. And for two reasons, I did in Japanese, obviously, because that's his native language. When Japanese guys explain things, it's hard for me to explain to you, but they're thinking the way that we would do things. We do things left to right, they do things right to left, so that worked out. A guy never packed a guitar in his life. The first guitar that he sent over, the Tak Matsumoto, was the best pack. It was as good as you would get at a Japanese guitar store. This guy who packed this one, he wasn't even bothered with that. He was like, nah, I'm going to use the bare minimum. If I can wrap it in some old underwear and some rubber bands and stick a stamp on it, trust me, I would do that. I can understand because of what he ended up selling it for. It was, again, like I said, $120 US for shipping in total when I won the bid. I think he was hoping that it would bid up more, but it just did not. But it is all original. All the parts are here, all the original parts. I was getting into it. Maybe you guys can see that a little bit better than in the video, that backing plate. I read a lot on forums about that backing plate just being, for either people love it or it's butt ugly. Thank you. But it does remind me of like a parquet floor sparkle kind of thing going there, It's just odd, It's just an odd choice. But yeah, a real beauty here. Made, what do we got going here? Pearloid. Yeah. Yeah, like a yeah, exactly so. Like a pearloid kind of thing going on there. And that's pretty cool. It's the neck, guys. I don't know how well this is showing up. Just the figuring on this neck combined with the aging on this. It's 22 years old, so it's starting to get that vintage amber color to it. There you can see crafted in China. They stopped putting that stamp on after I think the 9th month of the year that they made this. It did the switch over. This was a transition year. Yes, she is a beauty. This was a transition year guitar. 2000, 2001. This one is, it says it right here on the back. This one is from May of 2001. It was, at least the neck was made. Yeah, so a lot of things going on for this a lot of bang for the buck on this that you don't get these days. Again, I just, this neck, I didn't say it in the video, but this is a chunky neck. I do believe that there's still similar profiles on these, but you're not getting a neck like this on the new ones. The neck on the new Affinities, I looked at it, God, it looks like bone. Can you ship guitars to the States? Of course. Absolutely. I ship to the States from Japan to the States directly. If there's something specific that you're looking for, that you have in mind, I have a guy there whose job just is to help me look for things. I can look for them as well. So yeah, sure. You are all welcome always. Helps me. I do this YouTube and the live thing, everything kind of just because I love it. Fretboard looks nice too. Greetings. Yeah, nice rosewood. We're talking about 22-year-old rosewood fretboard on this, and yeah, guitars no problem, guys. Just let me know. It is really interesting with rosewoods. The older that they get, there's just something if they've been well played in, and I do believe that this was a one owner kind of guy, because there's no way this thing traded hands as many times as they can, without somebody somewhere down the line saying, "Hey, let's swap out those pickups. Let's take this trim system out. Let's do this. Let's do that. Let's change the tuners." This thing has not been touched. It's as it rolled off. I mean, there's nicks in it. There's a pretty good little ding right there, a couple on the back, but I like that. That adds character in combination with that 580 Arctic white color. As that guy told me many a decade ago, it does fade into this color that I wanted. He said, "Buy this one, kid, and hang on to it. It'll get there." And I didn't hang on to it, but I did end up getting one that is that same color, 580 Arctic white, that did make it to me, and I do see it is the color that I like. That's the Strat color. Yeah, it's showing up. I can see yeah, it looks good. That's the Strat color that I like. That to me screams Strat. Anyway, an Affinity and very finely made, and that's going to lead to my next point tonight. We are going on a travel here, gentlemen of the mind. So sit back, grab your popcorn, something to drink, whatever libations you feel necessary, depending upon your time of day and your tolerance for whatever. But we're going to take this guitar and we're going to do a little thread here tonight. There was a country music guy, was not, he's an artist, a country music artist named Oliver Anthony, who released a song called Richmond North of Richmond. And he happy to catch you live. Yeah, I'm happy you're here, really. This is going to be fun tonight. Just hang in there, guys. Strap in. And Oliver has a song that he put out, Richmond, east of Richmond, and north of Richmond, and it was a sensation. It became #1 on Spotify, and there's a reason behind that. It's authentic. It speaks to the soul, and why is that? Because I don't know if you guys have heard it. I listened to it and I was enthralled. The tone of his voice, that sound. I love it. It's real country. It's real country music, and it's because it comes from a really sincere guy. Oliver was offered, of course, record deals, and he turned them all down. And he made the statement. I did this song because I was in a dark place. And the singing, and if it touches you, if you feel it, it's because I was singing it at the height of being at that dark place. It came out. And so you can't fake that. You can't Britney Spears it. You can't, you fill in the blank. You can't, obviously, recently in the case of Lizzo, we learned that manufactured success has a heavy drop to it. You can't manufacture that because it's real. It comes from a real place. It comes from inside, And the fact that men came to him and wanted to monetize that offended him to the point where he said, go kick rocks. I don't want $8 million. I got, my house I still owe some money on. I got this place, my dog, and I'm good. The ultimate I'm good, I thought to myself. The ultimate I'm good. And he said, we have lost our way. He brought up the Torah and Exodus and that we're like the Israelites. We're chasing after false idols and we've lost our way. And he says, I don't want the tour buses. He says, I don't want the 15 tour buses. I don't want the mega stadiums. I don't want any of that. He says, you can have it. He called it false idols. Wow. Wow, man. Dig that. That is, and he has a good voice. Says, yeah, that's right. He has a good voice for that kind of music. Exactly. I mean, if you get, I grew up on all kinds of country music. Yeah, deep. I grew up on all kinds of country music, so I know when I hear the real thing, and it's regardless of this is from inside. This has nothing to do with this. It comes from this. Regardless of whoever's producing it, you know it. He's singing from the soul. That is correct. So if you guys haven't heard that, check that out. But what makes him admirable and why he fits into this web of conversation that I'm weaving tonight is talking about standing by your principles and being a real artist, a pure artist. That's a pure artist, by the way. Right here down the street, we have the Van Gogh Museum, and as you know, during his life, Vincent van Gogh, he had difficulties, mental difficulties. His paintings didn't necessarily, sell well, but he continued on doing it because he had something inside of him that he had to do it. Now, of course, which is rare these days. Now, of course, yes, I agree. He's got a whole building to him, people streaming through, and his works are worth millions of dollars. He was a true artist. It was only after his death that he became monetized. So he was a true artist. But in that light is what I'm saying. The same thing with Oliver, from the that purity that comes from that mental anguish, mental distress. You can even see it in Vincent van Gogh. But brushstrokes, if you stand there and look at one of his paintings very closely. And it's pure, it's real, it's raw, and it speaks to your soul. That's why they built a building to that kind of work. And it is admirable that he was of the kind of spirit to say, nah, I'm good. So an ultimate I'm good there to be had, to be sure. But that authenticity of that real artist is really something that you see the TV shows about like fame. My drive, my ambition, these words that they throw out, these nonsense words, my passion, nonsense words that. Or used incorrectly. Anyway, I digress. They always focused on a person who wanted that adulation. They wanted that crowd. They needed that that mirror to bounce off of in order to get something. And these are talented people that have that kind of mentality, but they're not true artists. They're not. A true artist is something that it comes out, and if people appreciate it, then it's up to that artist whether or not they want to monetize that. I admire him that he chose not to. I wouldn't have blamed him, and I don't think anybody here else would have. I really wonder how many of us sitting here would have turned down that $8 million offer to have the internal, for what is that, intestinal fortitude to pull something like that off, saying no and hanging up the phone. He's going to make money anyway because it's number and streaming. It's in his name. He's got the copyright on it. All the 2 cents that they do pay, at least he'll do all right off it. He may be able to even make enough off of it to pay off his home. And he says, I'm good. He probably already calculated that. And I admire that. There's 2 roads to go down. Like mentioning Stairway to Heaven, there's 2 roads you can go around. But in the long run, yeah, it's a long run. And he didn't want that long run stadium tour, buses, groupies, more things. Kurt Cobain was a true artist, and he went down that road and decided to monetize it. And it got to him. And we know what happened with our brother Kurt there. So certainly Oliver would have had a chance of going that way too. So I'm glad that he chose the other road. He said, I'm good. And so I bring these up. Now, what the heck you say does this have to do with your guitar? This one over here, the Squier. Well, it's just that, I started thinking about what is a true artist. I started thinking to myself, what are some of those things that make an artist an artist? I think to another true artist who was an artist, who remains one, but she did choose to monetize, is Joni Mitchell. She's kind of that crossroads of where you can be a true pure artist like her, because she wasn't following any trends, she was setting trends, and but also monetizing it. But with her instruments and the stuff, she was very simple with her acoustic guitars. You can look that up. Not a big collection there, to be sure. And her electrics as well. She was pretty dedicated to just 1 or 2 during the time she was playing on stage, playing gigs. Even now, too. I think she did something recently. But it gets to guitars in the sense that I started thinking to myself, we are building too many darn guitars. Because how does that tie in with an art being a true artist? Well, for me, if I had this as at any point in my career, this less than $100 Squier, I would be happy with it. This is, I don't know if you saw the video, please check it out, but this is a fantastic instrument. I would dare say that an instrument like this, probably in a lot of ways, I'm going to get in trouble for saying this, but I really do believe it, are better than the pre-CBS ones that are floating around out there, the leftovers and in terms of its construction. Because the CNC machines in the early 2000s, the things that they were doing to build this did not really compute back to those 50s and 60s guitars. So just by technology alone, this is a better guitar in that sense. And even above other than the Japanese Squiers, but those Korean Squiers, and during that bad period, it's far superior. It's noted that the Chinese Squiers are great from this period. And being such, this is a giggable instrument. It's a recordable instrument. It's an instrument that that anybody in their sane mind, if that was it for a guitar, they wouldn't be disappointed with it. If that was the desert island and that washed up, they wouldn't be bummed out. But uh, the truth is that we, in a consumer market, we had two roads that we could go down. You know, much like Oliver, that commercial road that you go down that says that we're going to take a tractor trailer worth of wood every shift, you know, in the Indonesian factories to create guitars that we're going to sell, to a marketplace that I've told you time and time again of dedicated players, of the 100% of people who buy a guitar, 10% of them are going to hang in there and become the consumers of them. And a very small percentage of that, 10% of that 10%, are the ones that are going to be buying multiples and multiples. Most people usually have a few, unless you're a YouTuber. Where, you know, but that's a different story. But, you know, still in all, there are guitars out there like this that are fantastic, fantastic aged rosewood. You can't, again, you will not get a maple neck on a Squier Affinity these days like this. You're not going to get this kind of figuring. Let me really get in there so you guys can see that. Whoops. You really look at this figuring there. You're not going to get that these days. Forget about it. Out there on the market for, you know, under $100. And we really have gotten to the point, I think, where we have such an oversaturation, you know, even it reflects in the cost of things. You know, the price of the new ones keep going up. The used market is thrown off in a haywire for different reasons we've been covering for weeks and weeks here. I won't belabor that right now. But it all comes down to too many. Now, I like small boutique guitar makers because they are not going through, you know, pallets and pallets of wood every day. They're handcrafted, they're thoughtful, they're taking their time. So I'm going to exclude them from that group. But the main manufacturers, this production, this drive to, and the increasing cost of these things, to the point where most people are saying, I'm good. They're going down this path. They're going down this path. Hey, you know what? I'm good. You know, I've got, you know, a guitar that, you know, if I had to take it on my desert island guitar, I'd be happy with. Anybody would be. Hey, welcome from Indiana. Welcome. Thank you so much for showing up this evening and listening to my ramblings this Sunday evening. Any guy or girl would be happy with something like this. And if, you know, you take care of it, it's obvious at 22 years, if you take care of something like that, it lasts. This is a testimony. And if I keep it well, it'll last another 22. I'm not sure about myself. But that one, yeah, I am. That instrument, yes. But you go down that path and you say, I'm good. When I'm dealing guitars to clients, I'm always looking to find them a lifetime guitar. I'm not trying to sell them the hippest thing of the moment, the newest Adam Jones, which, by the way, that artwork on the brand new one, number 5, I believe it is, it's anti-rock. But anyway, take a look at it if you get a chance. I digress again. But I'm trying to sell them a lifetime guitar. I'm trying to sell them something that they can enjoy, and if that was it for them, it fits them. It fits their style. It gives them what they're looking for, and it's a good instrument. And it's older. If you notice, I'm always reviewing. I'm not talking about new instruments. I'm not going to talk about any new things on this channel because I've become, in time, kind of anti-new. I was always that way. Kind of dipped my toe into new things, but I was like, no, why am I doing this when there's so many great guitars that are floating around out there from the 90s and the 2000s, like this Affinity, that, you know, are just ringers. You know, they're just beautiful sounding. You don't have to do a thing to them. Keep it as it is. It's nice. And there's no need to reach out and start finding the newest thing or the newest this or the newest Epiphone or all these things. Yeah, we can talk about those things. But that road, just so you know, is a road that leads to again, like I said, a truckload of wood being used every hour, you know. Whereas this road down here, hey, let's look at this old D'Armand. Let's take a look at this 2000 Affinity. Hey, let's take a look at this boutique shop Stoner guitar. Oh, let's look at this 1993 Les Paul Orville. See, there's a pattern to what I'm doing in that regard because I am really a strong believer. I am down this road. Let's not go down this. I'm down this road. See how I tied all that together? Just kidding. I'm down this road right here, really, as a business guy, as my kind of business model, the way I want to approach the guitars, when I review them here on YouTube, when I talk about them, yeah, pedals, amps, things of that nature. You know, I have a focus towards the used stuff, which gets to the title of today's program. The used stuff is starting to attract more people. You know, secondhand stuff is starting to be a growing market. And that came from a Zero Hedge story that I read that says, not, you know, we're talking about guitars tonight, but out there, and again, I always saw it say golf club land because there's somebody somewhere doing a live stream, believe me, on a live stream on golf clubs as we speak. Over in that neck of the woods with the other durable goods and things of that nature, we're seeing that people are starting to turn towards secondhand, and they're kind of shunning new things. And one of the reasons is, thank you, yeah. One of the reasons behind that, of course, is for economic reasons, inflation and things like that. Inflation isn't really reflecting in that secondhand market, with the exception of the guitar market and maybe the golf club market, I don't know. Maybe golf balls are going at a premium. It reminds me of that Chris Rock joke, but in this case, you know, if golf balls were $5,000 a ball, believe me, there would be no sand traps on courses. Anyway, kind of paraphrase his joke, but yeah, durable goods secondhand are starting to climb up there. People are starting to really gravitate towards buying and purchasing their things that way, and that's good for guys like me because again, I deal in second hands and things like that. I did buy that Jaguar for that great guy. I'm not gonna call him kid because he's in his 20s, but anyway, that's the first brand new instrument that I bought for a client in a while. Most of the stuff, as you know, secondhand, but it's cool secondhand stuff. It's stuff that I know the history of, and I know that this it even comes down to, sometimes it'll come down to a few months in a year, like in the case of a Les Paul Classic from the 90s. If you want a really good one, you have to get it before they change the headstock logo over from Les Paul to Classic. There was a period there, and there was a small window, very small window with that 6 months. So you have to look for a guitar that was made in the 90s in a 6-month window. But that's the kind of thing that I do. I've been doing it for a long time. It's been documented here on this channel. Take a look at some of the videos. Patrick says, look how use odd blue jeans from the USA took off. Yeah. The oh my God. You know, in the 2000s, man, no, in the 90s, I was in Japan. This is when I was still gigging, living in Japan. I was hanging out with this Japanese model and singer. She had a Yakuza backing. But a recording studio with her. I met her in the recording studio cutting a track. I was doing backing vocals on it, and I ended up playing something on it as well. I think bass, yeah, bass and keyboard bass. But I went with her to L.A. I went with her from Japan to L.A. I was coming back to town. And the first place that she wanted to go to was Melrose. And I hadn't been to Melrose in a long time. I used to live there in the 80s. But most of the shops there were selling aged jeans, like you just said. Yeah, dig that. And I couldn't believe the prices. I was like, are you guys kidding me? You're charging that much for these? And she was snapping it up, man. She was snapping it up. Yeah, dig that. Just like that, yeah. But in any case, getting back to the durable goods secondhand market, yeah, there are things that get driven up like that, and but notice that market fell out. That no longer exists. That existed for a window of time, and that's it. And the same thing will occur with the secondhand market with guitars. There will be, it's already starting. That snowball that I've been talking about for a long time now has really caught its steam. It's rolling, boys. It's rolling. And thankfully we're good, so we're not in its path. But yeah, it is something that even now in a source like Zero Hedge, quoting from other sources, usually New York Times, things of that nature, and it's come to that kind of forefront. And I would hope that this consumer sentiment will stem the flow of this manufacturing, because if people aren't buying it, then they're gonna curtail their production. What I would like to see in a perfect world, and I don't, what I'd like to see is for them to stop the big manufacturers, the Fenders and all those guys. What I'd like to see them do, with the exception of the custom shop, because like I said, that's handmade. They're not going through a truckload of wood, so they're good. Small boutiques, things like that. But the big ones, the big factories, and change over from producing guitars to taking in, so Fender Factory, instead of producing a Fender, it takes old Fenders in and refurbishes them and puts those out. Even if they did it as a model. I recently bought a Squier Classic Vibe Jabmaster left hand, very happy with it, and a good price too. Yeah, Frederick, dig that, man. Again, was it secondhand? Was it new or secondhand on that? Also, my Epiphone is 335 left hand, grade value anytime. I see the prices on both instruments are creeping all the time. Dude, yeah, it's not a digression. We can take it in that direction. My pickups that I got in from Q Pickups, the boutique guys in Croatia. When I bought those pickups, they were listed at $219. It was 10% off sale on their Reverb shop. So I paid somewhere in the nature of like $200 for that, like 204, something like that, 207, something like that, right? I looked up those same pickups the other day, and they're creeping up towards $300 for those now, and that was 2 years ago. So yeah, but again, we've been talking about that. That's why months and years, last year, and not just my live streams, but in my regular videos, I said, hey guys, there's a time to buy and there's a time to hold, and you need to read your cards. But yeah, dig that. I would like to see them change over their business model where they were doing at least a percentage of these factories were actually doing refurbishing. Instead of letting some of this stuff become landfill, I mean, okay, this guitar, this Fender or this Squier, maybe, maybe there's a crack in the body. It needs a new body. Maybe it needs a new neck. We put a new neck on it. Maybe the body and the neck is fine. Maybe we just need to do some work with electronics. We're going to refurbish this. Maybe it needs a new paint job on it. They do refurbishments. And think about, I'm not saying they have to do the kind of luthier work where they're fixing dents. Hell, they can put that as their secondhand true relic line. Refurbished relic. Hey, refurbished relic. That's a head scratcher there. That's a thinker, guys. It's a thinker. At least I would like to, and if they did that, I'm not, I'm not saying that their business model has to be 100% based on that, but it would be good if they would at least turn some of that manufacturing over to refurbishment of older instruments and then sell those out. First of all, in second and third world countries where these instruments, even at this under $100, that's a lot of money. This guitar is a lot of money, and most of the places that I've lived at, I've been around, I've traveled on this channel. It may not seem like much to to some, but that's just the way it is. Repairing is always better for the planet. That's my point. Guys, you caught me on an ecological tirade tonight. Sorry, I fooled you. I lured you in with the clickbait title, but I actually had an agenda here. Yeah, exactly. So, guys, because it angers me when I think about that kind of production. When I go to some of these shops around here and I see this every year after year after year, I see these new guitars, and then I see Gibson, taking those Firebirds and running the truck over them, or taking the 335s and breaking the necks on them and doing that kind of crap. Because they haven't thought to themselves, hey, instead let's take this, let's put it over, let's turn a certain percentage of our production over to refurbishment. And yeah, you guys seen those videos. Let's turn a percentage of our business over to refurbishment of our older stuff. I like going to pawn shop to look for guitars. Yeah, that's the place to go. And again, that's this road. That's not this road. This road is going to online to XYZ, clicking the button and having it mailed to you. You never touch this guitar. You don't know if you like it or not till you get it. It's like, it's like Veruca Salt. I want this. I want it now, And we get into that kind of mentality, that Veruca Salt mentality, dude. And we're getting these guitars into us. And, I did that with this one. But boy, howdy. I've been looking for this for a while. I knew the Strat that I wanted was either a standard, or rather they called it a traditional at that time, or an affinity from that period. And one, it just so happened it popped up. And boy, am I glad that I held out. Could it have been a bummer? Yeah, but dude, it doesn't get to 22 years old with nobody ever swapping or doing anything to it without it being a good guitar. So you can roll the dice that way. Well, when you order on Sweetwater or Thomann or here, there, or the other, you're really rolling the dice. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's not the same thing as going in and actually physically touching it. And you can do that in a pawn shop. You'll find something great. I found my Stoner. Like I said, I wasn't even looking for that guitar, and I found it in a kind of secondhand shop. So, again, these and again, if they could turn a certain percentage of their business model over to refurbishing old Fenders, old Gibsons, old Les Epiphones, and then creating a secondary market for those, I think it would be good for everybody. The other thing is you won't find Rosewood on new stuff for that price. So quality is slipping in prices. Yeah, and I was stressing that in my video today. That's what I was really hitting on. I was like, guys. Little South Park there. Guys. I was stressing that, and I just said it. You are not, I'll repeat it again, for the guys in the cheap seats. You're not going to get a maple neck like this with this kind of figuring on it for that kind of price. I have a nice 1993 straight PV Predator. Yes, man. Yeah, there you go. I bet it's got a beautiful good wood on it. You're not going to get rosewood anymore for this price. One of the guitar repair shop had PRs where the moon, not the birds, made in China for. Oh yeah. I know that one. The moon. Oh, I remember that one, dude. I remember that guitar. God, they had those. They had those guitars. I know that PRS. That's a nice one. They had that. What's that shop? Westwood Music on Santa Monica. Mark Spiewak was the guy who worked there, and he was showing it to me. Yeah, I dig that. Yeah, I know that one. Yeah, there's some great stuff out there. And again, yeah, you're not gonna try getting rosewood. Try to get a nice maple neck with nice rosewood on it for the $84 and that I paid for this, and then the shipping cost 30 or 30 some odd dollars shipping. Good luck on a new one. Not at that price. Again, if those prices keep creeping up, that have two pair of zebra humpbacks. Yeah, I don't remember that detail, but I know the moon and the bird thing. Yeah, that stands out in my mind as a memory. You triggered a memory there. I won't go postal on you, but it did trigger a memory, a good one. You're not going to find that kind of quality, so you might as well. You're doing yourself a favor by going down this road and not this path. Going down Oliver's path and saying, you know what, I'm good, but even if I'm looking for something, I'm going to go in the secondhand market. I'm going to walk down this road and I'm going to check that out. Because, there are some bargains to be had there and great instruments. Save you money. Make you happy. And if you want to have that big collection, then, make it a big collection of 90s and 2000 instruments that you could probably get for a song now. That somewhere down the line here in the future that I probably won't be around to see. No, actually that's not true. A future that unfortunately I will be around to see. That these guitars now, like this one right here, somebody will be trying to sell it for a whole lot more because it suddenly became vintage. 2000 guitars became vintage. That will be in another 30 years. So, yeah, something to consider. And you've had it all along. It's a great guitar. You can gig with it. You can record with it. I remind you guys again that Skunk Baxter recorded most of the Donna Summer, album. He said on the guitar, he got a Guitar Center for $25. He just picked it out. It looks like it's all right. He went off to the studio and he made a #1 hit that he made a truckload of. And guess what he didn't spend it on? That $25. That's lunch. In LA in '79 at a nice place, So just something to throw out there, guys. That's what I wish would happen. I really do. And so, yeah, dig that. All right, how are we doing here? Okay, in the last few minutes here tonight, let me grab this guitar again. Do you guys remember... hold on here. Let me minimize that and let me bring this up. Okay, do you guys remember when I was talking to you about composition a few weeks ago? I was talking about this lick. Remember, I had an idea for a very Japanese chord progression kind of lick that turned into, turned into that lick, and I put the two of them together, and I came up with a song, Mr. Sun. This week, as you know, in Europe this time of year. By the way, how is everybody doing out there? We got 7 people with 7 likes. The math makes sense. I'm a happy man tonight. Whether you're watching this again, guys, live or in the rerun, I want to let you know that I do appreciate it. Hey, good there. Good to hear. Um, Europe, let's see. I'm sorry, guys, let me go back. That major music store, hold on here. What about that? I mean, Germany can't ship Squire's Fenders and American name guitars to the U.S. anymore by laws. I wanted a Squire Jaguar limited to Europe only. It has a beautiful color. Yeah, I just bought a Squire Jaguar for, like I said, left-handed for my client. It was in Lake Placid blue. Was the color, I do believe. Is it Pelham blue or Lake Placid blue? It was gorgeous, and he loved it. It was it was actually the color because somebody was getting it to helping out him get it because it was a little expensive for a birthday present. And the minute they both saw it, they just loved that color. So yeah, those Squire Jags are coming out here in some beautiful colors. Yeah. But because it's Europe, everybody's on holiday. Hell, even my butcher is closed. Everybody's on holiday right now. And so business is kind of slow for me. It's like none of the guys that I deal with, the guys that I want to go talk to deal with, a lot of them are on the Oyasamina side. They're the good night. They're gone on holidays. So this week, amongst other things that I was doing, I finally got around to mastering my album. I finally got that done. I took a few days. I sat right here, brewed myself some coffee, and just hunkered down and worked on getting the best master that I could out of it. Mastering is a different process from mixing, and mixing I got down. I've had that down for decades now. Mastering is something that I'm really, within the last few albums that I've done, I've really learned. I wanted Jock to do it because I wanted to have a second set of ears on it, because I did the whole thing all the way through from the beginning by myself. I played the instruments, I did the recordings, set up the mics, set up the drums, set up this, set up that, did the vocals, and I really, I am appreciative of the fact that I have the ability to do that, but I do want somebody that I trust to hear it, to give me a second set of ears to kind of, and for him to master it for me. I thought maybe he could give it little colors in places that I didn't paint. But unfortunately, because of family issues, he just was unable to do it. And I've been putting it off because I've just been on a treadmill, man. I've just been running here, there, everywhere, flying here, flying there, working here, working there. And I put it on a back burner, and this week I said no more. So I mastered it, the whole thing. And I did it the old-fashioned way too, by the way, guys, because one of the things that totally pissed me off, I told you about, is Waves. A lot of the plugins that I had for mastering, they were Waves plugins. And I have no access to those since they've done their stupid subscription model. So I said, you know what, I'll make do with the plugins that I have. There are other companies like Isotope that I do have, that I do use, that I own, I bought out, and I can continue to use those. So I use some of those as well. But I mentioned that Mr. Sun song because I played you that lick and I talked about the composition, about how I put it together. And I thought to end out tonight, I would let you listen to a little bit of the mastered recording and how I took, again, just this idea. I was doing a TV commercial with Jock for a Japanese thingy. I had that lick and I was trying to work it and do something with it. And then one day I came up with, and I said, hey, you know what? I can put the two of those licks together. came up with some, I could put those two licks together, came up with some lyrics, and I want you to listen to a little bit if you guys don't mind. Do you guys want to hear it? Would you like to hear it? Play you a little bit of how that song Fully Produced came out. So let's go here and take a look. I'll keep it going because I did something in this song that I very rarely do. I actually came up with a C section for it. Instead of going into the solo, I decided to go into the C section. So that is the Epiphone 59 on the solo. Coda. Won't you shine on me? 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 All right. So that's Mr. Sun and the finished mastered version of it. Yeah, this is cool. I can talk about it a little bit. Thank you guys. I was watching here and watching the comments as it was playing, and I appreciate that very much. It is interesting with this track because, again, with this album that this is from, Ants in the Pantry is the name of the album. I have some stuff in there that's rock. but I want to do pop rock as well, and I can't fight it. As much as I asked Sanoki, I was trying to come up with a pure rock album covering different genres, but this one I wanted to be a rock album that was me, and coming out. And it turns out that I've got a lot more pop rock in me still left than I thought. If you listen to some of my older albums on Spotify, you'll hear that that's all pop in keyboards. The other thing about this song is I wanted to show an arrangement that you don't need keyboards. You don't need those. That's 2 or 3 guitars and a bass line in the drums to fill in and to make a sonic picture that's full. That's how they used to do it. The other thing about this that's of interest is the bass line that you hear is this Harley Benton bass behind you. Yes, that is a Harley Benton bass. Like I told you, did that sound okay to you? Sounded fine to me. Good enough. I don't need a Fender. I don't need this, that, or the other. That sounds good. I made that work. And another surprise is the rhythm guitar on the right is also a Harley Benton. It's a Harley Benton SG with those Croatian pickups that I was kind of alluding to earlier in it, the Q pickups in it. Yeah. And so the point of this is, thank you, Maddie. I appreciate that. Thank you, guys. Appreciate everybody. But the thing about it is my point that a good instrument is a good instrument. Don't get caught up in what it says. I needed a bass that sounded good and worked, and I made it work. It doesn't have, don't get caught up in headstocks and brands and all that. Really dig from the sound in your head, and whatever it is that gets that sound to you, then that works. If it ends up having to be, an expensive guitar, then so be it. But I bet you out there, if you dig around, if you're really clear on, where you're going directionally, you can make that work on a cheaper scale. So, so I wanted to share that with you guys. I talked about that arrangement and how it started with just that little lick. Like I said, it's funny how a song will come from just a simple thing. Just a lick like that, and I was off to the races. It turned to, even wrote a C-section for it. So I thought I would share that with you. I always like to end these on a positive note. Something positive. So yeah, this album is going to be, I've come to the conclusion, I will consider doing presses of it, an actual vinyl, but for right now, I'm actually going to put it on Bandcamp. So as soon as it's up on Bandcamp, I'll let you guys know so you can check it out. 10 tracks, 9 tracks, good stuff, all different. All interesting, but I'll play some as we go along here in the coming weeks. But yeah, I'm gonna put it up on Bandcamp, and you guys can check that out. I'll keep you posted on that. Coming up this week in terms of reviews, I do not know. I have no idea. Oh, sweet. Thank you, Mickey. That'd be great for you to check it out. I've never done Bandcamp before. This is the first thing that I've ever put up on Bandcamp. As you know, all of my stuff has always gone through Spotify, but I'm so done with them. I'm more done with Spotify than I am with Waves. So it's either going to go on Bandcamp, and now, of course, on Bandcamp, it gives me the option of later on, if there's enough interest in pressing vinyl for it. So we'll see. But as a streaming thing, it will be available there shortly. You guys have a good week. I don't know what I'm going to review this week. I'm sure something will come up. It usually does. But in the meanwhile, be good to each other. What's Bandcamp and what's Bandcamp? Bandcamp is a streaming service for artists to put up their products and sell directly to consumers with them being a third party kind of service provider. Just Google it and you'll see. Membership. I'm unclear on it, guys. Too. I'm still digging into it, so you'll be learning about it. But I do know that their rates and the way that they treat artists, a lot of guys are saying, "Hey, man, you need to go over to Bandcamp instead of Spotify with this one." So okay, and I might actually and also Asanoki, good band, please do. Also, my last album, Asanoki. After I put this one in, I'm going to re-release Asanoki as well. Thank you guys, I appreciate it. But this album, Ants in the Pantry, coming out on Bandcamp here in a minute as soon as I figure it out. All right, guys, have a good week. I will talk to you soon. Be good to each other. Really do. Please do. And I hope to see you next week. Same time, same bat channel. Guys, take care. Bye-bye. Peace, guys. Peace.